Welcome everyone. We are live. This is day 4, session 1. Oh, my computer gave me a notice. I need to remove it. Of the Students and Young Professionals Virtual Congress. We have quite a few people already logged. I'm Adam Jastrzębski. I'm a treasurer of IEEE Region 8 and also a member of the VSYP organizing team. So that's why I'm here now. Today's session is hosted by Serbia Montenegro section. So first, a few words from Barbara Vujkov and Miloš Marjanović about the section. You will meet them again in session 3 later today. So please, Barbara.
Adam, thank you very much for the introduction.
Oh, I apologize. Things happen, you know.
Of course.
Okay. You are going there. Okay.
Thank you, Adam, again. I would like to greet our participants in Serbian. Zdravo svima. Želim vam toplu dobrodošlicu na 4. dan kongresa. And English translation, hello everyone. I wish you a warm welcome to 4th day of IEEE Region 8 Virtual SYP in front of Serbia and Montenegro section. My name is Barbara Vujkov. I joined IEEE at the beginning of my Bachelor of Studies, and since then I have been actively participating in IEEE events. Currently, I'm the chair of IEEE Student Branch Novi Sad and also Region 8 Congress Coordinator Team Chair. I am very glad that our section is participating within virtual SYP and that we have opportunity to present our activities. I'm also proud to say that our section has 50 years long tradition and 5 student branches. During the last year, Serbia and Montenegro section has been very active. Among other events, section was host of the Eurocon conference and host of one cross-sectional congress, Central European SYP. On today's interactive session, which starts in 2 hours, as Adam said, we will try to share with you the experience we gained through the process of organizing various events. And also you will have the opportunity to meet volunteers from our section. So I kindly invite you to participate in our discussion. And now I would like to invite my dear colleague and friend, Miloš Marjanović, who is an active IEEE volunteer, to introduce himself and to tell us more about the history of IEEE Serbia and Montenegro section. So thank you and see you later.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everybody. I'm Miloš, chairman of Student Branch Niš in Serbia. It's my pleasure to be part of Virtual Student and Young Professional Congress 2020. Tonight, my colleagues from Novi Sad and from Niš will talk about our activities. But for this introduction, some words about our Serbia and Montenegro section. Today in 2020, about 50 years after the foundation of initial IEEE Yugoslav section, 5 IEEE sections exist in former Yugoslavia region. It's Croatia, Slovenia, Republic of North Macedonia, Bosnia and Herzegovina section, and Serbia and Montenegro section. All these sections are very active with numerous meetings, conferences, lecture, professional, technical, social, and other events. And nowadays, they represent important part of IEEE community. Serbia and Montenegro section, with today's name, exists from June 2005. Total number of IEEE members in our section is about 700, and we are organized with 12 chapters, 2 affinity groups, VIA and young professionals, and of course, as Barbara said, 4 student branches, Belgrade, Novi Sad, Čačak, Podgorica, and Niš. So students have been a significant part of IEEE membership in Serbia and Montenegro section for years. There have been numerous students' activities besides regular meetings and gatherings students have traditionally collaborated with other student organizations. One of these activities is IEEE ISTEC conference, and tonight we will talk about it, how we motivate students to publish on this conference. Colleagues from Novi Sad organized Central European Student and Young Professional Congress last year, so tonight they will talk about this event. A significant part of Serbian-Montenegro section activities is organizing and supporting the conferences such as ETRAN, TEL4, TEL6, MIEL, etc. For instance, ETRAN is co-organized with Society for Electronics, Telecommunication, Computer, Automatics, and Nuclear Science. Our section hosted Region 8 committee meetings for 2 times in Belgrade, which is a big and important event gathering the chairs of all Region 8 sections. And to point out, it is important to emphasize that the links and the relationship between all sections in the region of ex-Yugoslav have been kept as very good for years. We collaborate in many events at the regional and international levels. Friendly communication and mutual support and help are characteristics of our relation, leading to further development for the benefit of our members. So this is the small story, little story about our Serbia-Montenegro section, and tonight for 2 hours we will talk about our activities in student branches.
Thank you. Thank you both. So if you don't mind, I'll just switch you off at the moment, and we'll give a stage to our keynote speaker today. So here it is. It is my great honor to welcome Nihal Sinnadurai, who is our today's keynote speaker. He is a very distinguished professor, fellow of IEEE, fellow of Institute of Physics. He also is a former chair of IEEE UK and Ireland section. The speech which he is going to give today is related to the fact that he is a founder of the Originate Action for Industry initiative, and still engaged, still active as a volunteer in the subcommittee. Professionally, Nihal has had a distinguished career both in British industry as well as academia. So welcome, Nihal. You have some presentation to show us while you are setting it up. I just say that if you have any questions, please ask the questions by clicking on Ask a Question below at the bottom of the screen, and then type them there. So welcome, Nihal, your stage.
Thank you, Adam. My own face has disappeared from my visibility, so what I see right now is the presentation. First question to you, Adam, is the presentation in presentation mode fully visible to everybody?
Yes, I can see that on my screen, and you are still there, you know, on the screen. Good. As well.
Okay. I have the pleasure that I don't have to look at myself, but I hope everyone else can see a few words that I'll be saying. But here is the presentation. It is my pleasure today to be addressing the large group of students and young professionals who have subscribed to this event. One great there's a great disadvantage in not being able to meet face-to-face, but one great benefit that comes through from the virtual meeting is that a lot more people have joined and are attending. So it is good to have a big audience, and I'm sure the other speakers at other events have appreciated that as well. So let me talk about Action for Industry. This is something we set up a number of years ago in Region 8 because we observed that, unfortunately, because industry people were the people who originally founded IEEE. If you go back to the origins of the Institute of Radio Engineers and which preceded IEEE. So progressively, IEEE has not given enough attention to industry, and therefore industry members have drifted away. So what we are trying to do is to reverse that trend and make it much more interesting for industry people to join and participate actively. By the way, although I have a title, Professor, I am working in industry, and the title is honorary because I'm a visiting prof at a few places. So what we're aiming to do in Action for Industry is, if we make good progress and have impressive, hardworking interns, we expect to impress the, actually, I seem to have gone way, I'm not at the right place. So let me, right. My apologies to all of you. I started in the wrong place because I had been rehearsing what I was going to say. So here is the presentation. And here, this is my list of what I'm going to say. And here is the objective. What we want to do is move IEEE close to industry by what we do and by achieving platforms. The platform, by what I mean by platforms, is what we achieve in terms of encouraging people to join industry from IEEE students and young professionals, and for the industrial people to offer us these opportunities. So what we will aim to do, and we partially succeeded in that in the first few years of Action for Industry, is we started re-establishing the roots of IEEE, which started in industry. If you go on to the Region 8 website and click technical activities and then click Action for Industry, you will see the entire plan that we produced a number of years ago. And progressively we've added to that, but we haven't removed, so you can see the history of what we aim to do. So the action plan is systematic. What I was keen to do when we set this up is not to have a lot of slogans that are meaningless. You can have a lot of hot air and produce slide presentations, but if you don't set yourself reasonable goals that are slightly beyond the ability to achieve, then you have this load of hot air that impresses nobody. I've seen too many slide presentations that are presented to boards that really, once a presentation is finished, nothing happens. So we've aimed to do a systematic plan and to measure progress by each stage of what we achieve. And over the few years that Action for Industry has been running, we have been able to measure that progress. The interesting challenge is whether industry, which has felt neglected, would be persuaded to open up cooperation with IEEE. And I'm very pleased to say, as I will report in the slides to come, that they have actually opened up. And the challenge we have is companies quite frequently belong to other institutes within each nation, and they do deals with the national institutes. For instance, in the UK, there is the IET, Institute of Electronics Technology, and a lot of companies have established CPDs, that's continuing professional development, and staff training and so on. So what we need to do is establish IEEE as a credible organization to provide such services. So we established industry ambassadors, we established regional industry ambassadors. So in Region 8, we have 4 regional industry ambassadors covering North and South Europe, which is where the majority members are, Africa and the Middle East. And so we have some really excellent regional ambassadors. And we set about changing the nonsense that used to be there, calling the people representing industry or dealing with industry as industry liaison officers. That's a meaningless statement. So we wanted to replace them with section industry ambassadors. An ambassador is a meaningful statement, and that's the position that we have established in many sections. The other message we learned from the companies is that when they offer internships, they're really looking for the fact that IEEE can deliver high ability students. They will be very, very selective when they choose they offer internships, and then they interview people, and they will be looking for people who show commitment, can communicate well, and I'll repeat that message later on as well, and have good interpersonal skills. What they're not looking for are people who are arrogant and expect and demand things. So I'll make some comments on that later on as well. For the internships, the company, we originally thought we might screen out the people we would offer as interns, but the company said, don't do that. They will use their internal recruitment people to decide how to screen the students offered to them. So those who apply for internships, who have applied for internships, all we do is try and allocate them to the companies that have the right level of technical interest to them, and the companies may be interested in offering them jobs. We also published a mentors list. One of the things we did, we spent a lot of time going through SAMI, which is the IEEE database of members, and filtering the members that were at senior level and fellow level, but who worked in industry. Because what we were looking for were mentors that actually worked in industry, who could then advise and guide our students to link them into industry. So I will show you in a few minutes the type of list that we have placed on the Region 8 website. But one thing I have deliberately not done is put the contact names or the email addresses of the mentors, because what would happen is they would get completely swamped, and sometimes there are unpleasant messages also sent. So any application for mentoring is vetted by the mentoring chair, which at the moment is myself. So all applications for mentoring come to me. Here is a chart interestingly produced by one of our regional ambassadors, and this is showing the various linkages that we envisage. This is really a pictorial image. When we're looking for internships, Action for Industry internships, we try and set up agreements with companies, identify the internship opportunities, and then the companies use their own HR to screen the applicants. Then for mentors, we've gone for seniors and fellows. The obvious reason is seniors, they have experience and they have to have a minimum time as a member of IEEE. So we enroll the mentors. And we are working clearly with student activities and young professionals to facilitate communication from the program to young engineers. So just to let you know where we are. We've been running Action for Industry for about 5 years now. And many of our young engineers have applied and been accepted as internships. Last year, we had about 39 internships offered by companies and recruited there. Many of the young engineers also sought contact with mentors. I'll tell you more of that in a moment. Very important message. When you seek internships and want to contact mentors, absolutely vital, you learn to be polite. Don't send brutal emails with no signatures, no names, and not even saying dear so-and-so. Be informative in a brief way. These internships and mentoring are opportunities to learn, to benefit, and to impress the seniors in the companies and mentors with skill and hard work. These opportunities are not rights, they are opportunities. I've put in brackets there, compare with John F. Kennedy. Remember his inaugural address. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. We always remember that. Do not demand, but always be polite and expect a polite response. Another important message is there are some brilliant, absolutely skilled young professionals and students that I may be addressing. It's not enough. You may be highly intelligent. That's also not enough. What you need to also develop are strong interpersonal skills, how to deal with people. Some of the emails that I've received and some people's CVs have been extraordinarily arrogant, and I've advised people, look, try and consider the person receiving your message, not how you want to present it, but how they would want to receive it. So always think of the recipient. I've extracted this from a university newspaper for advising students. Always research the job you're applying. 3 in 10 people don't bother. Update your CV and compare it with the role that you're applying for. So if you're applying for a different role with different companies, your CV needs to change. Sleep and be rested. Don't spend the night in the pub the previous day or just being very anxious. Find out about the industry you're going to work in. Also try and look the part. Don't turn up in t-shirts and shorts and sandals for an interview. You need to make sure that you're presentable. If you can have the opportunity, you might actually practice interview questions. Avoid being, sometimes your body language can tell more about an interview to an interviewer than what you may say. And if you've got a lot of things on social media, be careful what you put up there, because your employers will be checking you out, and even your intern employers will be checking you out. So be very careful what you do. This is a continuing message I am going to exhort you. So here's a strong message. To be a university student is a privilege. The majority of young people do not have that privilege. They're at work maybe at 7 a.m. as an apprentice plumber or an electrician, bricklayer, carpenter, or maybe even in an unskilled position in a supermarket. This is what the majority of young people are doing. They don't have the opportunity to be in university. So because you are a student or an existing graduate, be diligent and grateful, and make sure that you only give the best. When you graduate, give back to the community who has given to you. And always when you are mentored, act on the guidance given by your mentors and make the best of internships if you have the privilege to be offered one. I'm just listing some of the lists that we placed on the Region 8 website for mentors. We've been careful to select mentors from industry. This is not anti-mentors from university. The university mentors, this is their job to do because they are required to mentor students. Here we have industry mentors who are volunteering to be available to students to help guide students professionally. So you see in the latest list, I've actually removed the IEEE grade as well. But I've left in there the motivation that they have to mentor students, their own responsibilities, their technical skills, where they are located, and their availability as well. If you go on the Region 8 website and look at the mentors list, you will see it says July to August. I deliberately had that not made wide open for 12 months of the year because these mentors have jobs. They have to work. So if they're available 12 months of the year, they will be interrupted all the time. So we need to focus. I'm hoping to reopen that later on in October, November, as the existing mentors have completed their mentoring of existing mentees. Okay, so here I can just continue to show you the list of different people who have been, who are mentors. So let's look at progress. What we want to do is to have good progress. And if we have impressive, hardworking interns that are already working in companies, we hope to impress the companies who offer these positions. In other words, they'll come back to us and offer more internships. So you now become an ambassador for us to be able to say, I've done well, I've impressed, and it might be that you could get a job offer as well out of it. And this will be an aspect of us moving IEEE closer to industry. By the way, when I took charge of this responsibility a number of years ago, the IEEE slogan was move industry closer to IEEE. And I said, this is ridiculous. Why should industry move closer to IEEE? They are doing their jobs. They're making products. It's up to us in IEEE to make ourselves more available to industry than for them to make themselves closer to IEEE. That is an important slogan. So when we achieve, we will build on these positive relationships. And we will aim to involve companies in IEEE activities. Industry is already involved with standards, but this every time I ask some of the IEEE leaders, well, what are you doing for industry? They always cite standards. I want it to be bigger than that, because standards has been going for quite some time, and industry is involved there. We need it to be bigger than that. And what we've done recently, since we established the program, is we've given corporate awards. They're basically certificates saying thank you very much for working with us. Now, I'm just going to show you a few slides of email correspondence received and given to those applying for mentorship and for internships here. This is a reply I will have sent out, which is, I always start my emails with dear so-and-so, okay? Because I learned to write letters, and I know that the person who received my correspondence would like me to be polite to them. Okay? So I'm writing to the person who's made the application. Thank you for taking the trouble to write your email courteously. And I have pleasure in attaching an example application form. This was from internship applicant. So they got something from me, and I always reply personally to every person who emails me on these matters. Okay? So here's an example. Not everybody does it, but this is my preference. Here's an exchange of emails. Somebody wanting to have an application form for the internships that we had placed on the Region 8 website. And they asked me what they should do if the company's contact is not shown. And basically, I will do the work to find out what the company's contact is and then provide it to the applicant. Here's an example of something I did not like. I get this email straight into my inbox. I was in a hurry. I was emailing you. My name is, and I've taken the name out, I didn't want to shame that person, from the IEEE student branch. So I replied back saying, here I'm giving you some example application forms. Please read the e-notice very carefully. Do not hurry. When you make an internship application, the impression you give to the company is very important. If you send an email to the company in the same way you sent an email to me, I don't think the company will even bother to consider you at all. So be very careful in being considerate. If you look back in your inboxes in June and July, I sent out the e-notices to invite people to seek mentoring. And I was very careful to say how you should correspond, okay? So I will keep on mentioning this, making this message again, okay? Here's an example of something that you may be familiar with, people locked into their mobile phones. And here's an example of what they might be doing. Okay, I haven't really given it any thought, but I'm going to send an internship application. This is not what I want to get from anybody. Here's an example of what that person may have sent. I'm interested, this is straight out of the blues into my inbox. I'm interested of 3 internship, how to do, okay? Bad language, not offensive language, just something that I would not really want to receive. There's no form of address, no signature, no name. There's obviously the email address that I could reply back to, and not what you want to see. Here's another one. Hi, even lowercase I intend to apply, etc. Okay. Blunt, poor language, lacking any interpersonal skills, and no signature. So I hope the message is very clear. And here's another example of me replying back to somebody else. Some of the interns wanted a very specific job. Trouble is, they're not always available like that. So people need to look at the internship technical offerings and say, well, this is the nearest match. So I did this for this person to say, well, this is the best match to what you want. Here's another person who looked at the mentoring opportunities on the website and took the trouble to find out what they would like to have a link with. Okay, so they got a reply back from me linking them to that particular mentor. I have to emphasize, by the way, right now that because sometimes everybody wants the same mentor, And that's impossible. If you have many applicants saying, I want this mentor, the mentor will just get wiped out. So I sometimes reply back to the mentee to say, look, that mentor is now fully busy. I can put you in touch with a mentor who can give you some professional guidance in your career, but will not be able to guide you technically. And here we have another request, and here's my reply back to them as well. So this is an ongoing, continuing process. And this is an example of how I might link a mentee to a mentor. I write a nice little, very short letter, copied to both the mentee and to the mentor, so it links them together. And then the mentor takes continuous contact. I do not interfere with this at all. But I have been observing some mentors have been including me in what they've been doing. And we have some superb guidance from mentors to mentees. Here's another example. So I'm showing you a lot of such examples. This is an example from a mentor. Many thanks for reaching out to me. I'm more than happy to share my experiences with you. And therefore, you start the dialogue. Some mentors establish Skype links with their mentees, not every day. Clearly, the mentor needs to be given a chance to do their job, but from time to time. By the way, I'm looking after 4 mentees at the moment, and I've established Skype links with some of them sometimes. And I am available to them, but not 100% of the time. So, because we are virtual, the reason we are virtual is because COVID-19 has made it impossible to meet face-to-face. So the next 2 slides have nothing to do with mentoring or Action for Industry. This is really my asking everybody who's seeing this message to behave responsibly. I came across the next illustration from an organization that runs charities, and they were made vulnerable by people not wearing face masks. So this is what they put on their window. If you don't wear face masks, your breath projects whatever you have inside your body into the atmosphere. If one person's wearing a mask, they are protecting the other people. If everyone's wearing a mask, then you're protecting each other. This is not perfect, but it's better than not doing it. And here's a statistic that I came across as well, that it is a pity. Responsibility must be owned by all age groups. And as a consequence, it is important that if we are not as vulnerable as other people, we need to protect everybody as well. So that is my final message in these slides. And that concludes what I wanted to say. I'm obviously going to be open to questions. I am going to now stop sharing, and I am back on screen, and I am in your hands, Adam. Over to you.
Thank you, Nihal. As usual, very decisive message, very clear message. So what we have at the moment just one question. If you, Nihal, click on the question button at the bottom, ask a question, you will see it. The question is from Rita Kairi, and this is, do you agree that the best bridge between IEEE and companies is IEEE members employed already inside companies? I press now start answering button, and Nihal, perhaps you will tell us what do you think about it?
Okay, I'm not going to answer textually, I'll just answer verbally. Is that okay? Okay. And I'm going to now minimize the question bar. The question, by the way, can everybody see this or only me? Okay.
When the question displays in front of you, it's just on your screen.
Okay. In which case, I'm just going to read out the question and then I will answer it. Do you agree that the best bridge between IEEE and companies is IEEE members employed already inside companies? Yes. Obviously, it is a good start. By the way, I did not join IEEE to advance my career. I joined IEEE after I had advanced my career. So to me, what I want to do is give back to the community. So the companies I have been within, because I was a boss within BT and I was a boss in Claro, and both the companies had IEEE members, and I encouraged that sort of membership. And of course, both these companies do participate in IEEE only by people from within asking. Interestingly, when we try to set up the internships and of course the mentors, with the mentors, I just reached out to all the mentors that we identified as industry mentors. And if they happened to be in a company that we could tap for internships as well, we did that. But many of the others, the people that we reached out to did have members, and some of the bosses were already members of IEEE. So it is a very, very good start. And once you've got that platform, then what you can do is reach out to companies that don't have IEEE members and say, here, this is what we've done. We've got these great students, got these great achievements, and how about getting involved with us? So that is my answer. It's very positive, and we can develop it from there, yes.
Thank you, Nihal. Can I ask you my own question? What are the statistics? Which countries utilize this mentoring system most in our region?
Okay, that's it's a good question, and it's an interesting one. Fortunately, it is spread across. There's obviously, because Europe has a larger number of IEEE members, we have more in Europe. We have mentors from the Middle East, but we have no mentors from Africa at the moment. So it's something that I would be looking to and hoping to have mentors available from there. We have obviously the regional ambassadors. John Matuga from Kenya is the ambassador for Africa, and Mohammed Amin is the ambassador for the Middle East, but he's based in Egypt. So if we can get more mentors from within Africa, that would be great. But the important thing was we had mentors that are based in industry. So mostly from Europe. We have former directors of Region 8 also as mentors, and a number of former section chairs also as mentors. So we've got people who've got lots of good experience in both managing as well as technical experience.
Thank you, Nihal. If you open your question and answers.
Another question, yeah.
Yes, we have two more at the moment. That question, can an IEEE student member benefit from the mentorships, especially members that are starting the early years in college? I know the answer because I've heard from you about that issue, but perhaps you will tell everyone what the situation is with that respect.
Okay. Well, there are two ways. The answer is yes to the question about can IEEE student members benefit from mentorships, because what you're trying to be guided is how you position yourself towards a career. Okay. So certainly you can start getting some guidance initially. Don't forget, obviously, if you are doing a PhD, don't forget that you will have two people already guiding you. You will have your director of studies and you will have your supervisor. And then, of course, universities have their own mentors whose job it is to be a mentor. So you have to schedule your meeting with them. So the benefit of having a mentor from the Region 8 pool is they can probably give you a greater view as to how you can head for a job later on, to be selective in what you choose to do. Sometimes you're very lucky if you are great at a technology and you get a job in that same technology. I've been very fortunate in that. But sometimes you have to survive. The point of life is survival initially, but everybody who's studying is obviously trying to establish a platform to do something for the future. So yes, mentoring at the beginning is useful, but I would say also make use of the university mentors that you have available as well. Okay, the second question, is that?
Thank you, Nihal. So this is about the awareness session, some form of. This is about the sessions, the essential publicity of the whole initiative.
Yeah.
Please comment on this, Nihal.
Okay. I'll sort of try and spell out the question as well. Do you? The question to me is, by the way, I keep looking to my left because Adam is on my left on the screen, so I keep looking to him. But don't worry, stay where you are. Stay where you are. But it's just that every time I say to Adam, should I do this? I look to my left. Okay. The question is, do you recommend awareness sessions for trainees before joining industry? And what are the main recommendations to stress on? Yes, the important thing is essentially learning how to behave when you're going into industry. So the mentoring process is a very useful process because, for instance, I would guide you exactly as I've done in the slides there to say, don't be arrogant. You may understand the abbreviation no BS. I've read the CV of one or two people who've come through me as for mentoring, and I've said, well, look, you put into your CV, you will achieve your master's in 2 years' time. That is not an achievement yet. You can say you're studying for this, but and then there's a lot of statements of what I have done. I'm the greatest in the world. Don't do that. What you need to do is to be able to present yourself in a way that's persuasive. List your achievements, fine, as long as you have achieved those, and whatever training you have received, that's good. So going on for things like CPDs, you can do that as a student as well. CPDs, continuing professional development. Usually people try and interpret that as after you've graduated, but you can always attend things beyond that. When I did my first degree, I attended almost, I went to not only day classes, but I attended other lectures as well in other courses, just to learn more. And I would say certainly understanding how to behave when you are trying to get a job is very important. Some of the universities have career guidance people. I hope the career guidance people understand the message of how to coach the students on preparing for interviews and so on. One very important thing I've mentioned in the previous slides is if you are highly active in social media, be extraordinarily careful on not being offensive and doing silly things. And sometimes, even if you have the instinct to do it, I wouldn't want to employ you if you have bad attitudes anyway. So I hope people will not do nasty things on social media and be very careful what you say there. Yes, there's another question. I hope that...
There's another question, yes.
Okay. This next question is, so how will IEEE help Mentee in Africa to have mentors since there are none? The answer is very positive. I have already got a number of mentees from Africa, from Nigeria, from South Africa. They have already been linked to mentors. So the important thing is this: you don't need to have a mentor from your country or from even the continent. As long as there is an experienced mentor. See, the mentees I'm addressing are covering, I've got one mentee based in the UK, all the others are outside the UK. And I have had Skype meetings with them, and you can carry on guiding them that way. So you don't need to have a mentor in Africa to support a mentee in Africa. It's already happening, okay? It's just that I was saying it would be great if there would be some mentors working in industry in Africa that would actually respond to this and say, okay, I would like to help as well. I've got this great job. I'm a senior member or a fellow in Africa, and I would like to help mentors. It would be great. Okay.
Thank you, Nihal.
One more question.
Understand this question. You can see it.
Yes. How does a researcher convince individual corporations for an I think that's bad spelling, but is it experiential opportunity? An opportunity to gain experience. I think that's my, maybe your English is maybe better than mine, but that's what I think you mean, which is how can you gain experience in industry, and how can a researcher convince individual corporations for an well, it depends on what research you're doing. If you are doing research that would be of relevance and interest to a corporation, write your CV very carefully saying, this is what you have achieved so far. Find out which companies are around that would be relevant to you. They don't necessarily have to be those who've offered internships in the on the Region 8 website. Important thing in that message I showed earlier on in the slide is research. I don't mean research your technical research, research the industry, find out where the right place is. One of my mentees is, I've been trying to guide them to a particular organization in a particular country in Europe, saying this particular organization has the skill set that you would like to gain experience in. So write your CV showing that you have got skills in this area, but you also want to learn. Important thing is you want to learn and you want to work hard, and you need to convince the company that you're going to do both. So that's my advice to you.
Thank you, Nihal. Nihal, we also have someone here in the message stream who is from Nigeria, and he is currently mentee, I understand. Would you like me to invite Mistura Moibi Tijani on the screen, perhaps, to tell us about his experience?
I see his comment there. I'm delighted that he is getting good guidance. So if you want to open up and make any comments,
to invite on a screen or to a voice?
Sure, yes. Invite him on the screen. That would be good.
So, Mistura, if you can click OK, you can come on a screen here. Nothing. All right, nothing at the moment. Nothing. Technology is not always easy.
You may have to click on the icon next to your name, and then open up your video.
Yes, but I'm not certain what's happening.
Yeah, I meant for Mistura to do that. For yeah.
I can't see anyone.
Okay.
I can't see. Well, if Mistura, if is it him or she? Do you remember?
I can't remember, and I don't want to offend anybody by guessing.
No, better not. Then she. Okay, brilliant.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying that.
We have a help here. Listen, Mistura, if you cannot come on a screen for any reasons, then sorry for that, and we haven't warned you about this kind of possibility. As far as I can see, there are no other questions.
So Mistura wants to turn her microphone on. She could speak even if she doesn't want to be seen.
You can have a microphone if you'd like to. No.
Not working. Okay.
Okay, not working. I'm trying to invite again, but nothing works. Okay. In this case, Nihal, perhaps. Oh, I have another question came in.
Okay.
Please, can we have the email address for the mentee looking for mentors in Africa?
That has to be private, because yes, I understand the question, but who is asking for it? Because
okay, yes. What's happening here? I'm not certain. Could we? Christopher, could you explain the reason for that? Also, maybe in the text. No, in a message box.
Well, in which case, let me just try and answer why not? When a mentee makes a request, it has to be treated as a confidential link between the mentee and the mentor that I connect them to. So once they're connected, that should be a relationship between them in the discussions they have. If either of them want to make it more open to me, sometimes they do, I make a note of it. It helps me to understand how well the mentoring is going. But if we abuse that request from the mentee for a mentoring session, I think we will probably block many people wanting to seek mentoring. If Christopher wants to be a mentor, then email me, and then I'll start to build up your picture and make you a mentor. And if that's what you want to do, to become a mentor, working in industry, and want to help, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Nihal, for this lively session. And I think we can finish by now. Do you want to add at the end some final?
I'll just make I'm just going to be repeating myself, but let me say it is my personal culture, nothing to do with my origins, is very important messages. Interpersonal skills are very important. So firstly, be polite. I do something very unusual that other people would not do. Even in my text messages on my mobile, I always write it as if I'm writing a letter. So I say, dear so-and-so, and complete the message with kind regards. When I send an email, I do that as well. You don't have to do that. You may choose your own way of being polite. But the important thing is politeness. The really important message I gave to one of my mentees is, when you're writing your CV, or when you are writing a letter, think of the person receiving it. That's the person that's more important than you. And therefore, construct a letter in such a way that they would be pleased to receive it. Make their day happy. And the only remaining message is for all who successfully get mentoring, who get successful internships, and all who graduate out of universities, give back to the community. So that's probably the main message I want to give today.
Thank you very much, Nihal. So let's come back for the screen for a moment. Great. I hope that many of our listeners, participants, will make use in future of this great program. I also hope that our colleagues in industry will join. You can find all the information on Region 8 website. So please go there and look at the action for industry, and you will find many things there which you might use, including email to Nihal. So all the best. Thank you very much. And I'm closing down the session. No, one more.
Is I would like to listen to some of the other presentations later on. So I presume I'm not going to be excluded from that. I'll just become a quiet participant in the background and watch and listen to everything that happens.
That's how it goes. That's how it is, Nihal. You will be automatically transferred to the next session, or you can also actively choose the next session.
Okay.
So thank you once again, Nihal. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.